Well, good morning. I'm going to do something a little different this morning. I'm going to make a pot of coffee. I'm going to make a pot of coffee. I make coffee every morning, so what's different about that? Well, it's going to be in this Drip-O-Lator pot. Get it here where the camera can see it. This was sent to me by a nice lady down in Texas who watches my YouTube videos, and she asked me to send her my address because she'd like to send something to me. Well, a box came in and it contained this, and a note saying that I reminded her of her father, and he always made coffee every day in it. But as soon as I picked this up, I realized it was not the ordinary run-of-the-mill coffee pot from the 1950s. It was made in Japan. This sucker has some weight to it. It has, in terms of airplanes, it has structural authority. It's the usual Drip-O-Lator, and so I didn't see a name on it any place, so I turned it over and looked on the bottom, and it says stainless steel Vollrath, V-O-L-L-R-A-T-H, Sheboygan, Wisconsin, USA. Well, I'd never heard of that company, so I looked it up on the internet, and I found out they have been making stainless steel products since 1874. And during World War II, they were a major supplier of airplane engine exhaust stacks, which were made of stainless steel so they wouldn't rust. So this company has some legs behind it. But this has some heft to it, and it's the usual Drip-O-Lator type pot. It has the main pot, it has the top pot here, which holds the water in the top, and it has the diffuser plate here with little tiny holes in it that meters the water from here down over the coffee, which is in the bottom of it. And it makes a good, Drip-O-Lator's made a good pot of coffee, except for one problem. You had to bring the water up hot in something else to go in it, because there was no place to hold the water until you could get it back together. If you dumped the water in it with it apart, it started running out. So you had to have a steward to heat the water in that you were going to make the coffee with. So, notwithstanding that, I'm going to make a pot of drip coffee this morning. See how that turns out. Okay, I'm set up over here on the stove to make my coffee. I've got the pot here. I've got the right amount of water in the bottom half here to measure it up to make it. Got this on the burner here to heat. Got my coffee. So I'll take the top part off and dump this in here. And turn the burner on under that to bring it up to a boil. I'll put it up on high and let it go. And in the meantime, I'm going to take this out of this, and this is where the coffee goes in. Coffee grinds here, and they call this a 6-pot coffee maker, but they obviously don't think of 8 ounces as being a cup, and because this measured out to about 4 3/4 ounces per cup to have 6 cups. And you shake this, whoops, that's what I'm talking about right there. It's falling through. So what I'm going to do is put this back in here in the pot, in the coffee can, and get a paper basket and put it in there. Okay, this is part of the pot that holds the coffee in it, holds in the bottom. Now the only thing about just putting coffee directly in here is fine ground coffee will come through and go on down into your pot at the bottom. So to prevent that, use a paper filter here. I've got one. You can make coffee without it, but you will get some grounds in your finished coffee. And that's the right amount there for 6 cups the way they measured, which for them about 4 3/4 ounces makes a cup instead of 8 ounces as everybody in the world around them are used to. So now I've got the coffee in here. Shake it to level it out, and put the diffuser on top of it, and this on there, and this on there. Now when the water boils, I'll pour the water in here on top of this. While we're waiting for the water to boil here, I'm going to tell you a story. When I was at Black Forest Glider Port, the first person there every morning would make the coffee, and they had a big 60-cup urn type coffee maker there. It was a percolator type, and on the basket in it, you wouldn't make 60 cups naturally if there was only a small group there. So the first person would kind of estimate how much coffee they needed, and they'd fill it with water up to whatever level that they wanted, 24 cups or whatever. And then in the basket it was numbered in there, so you'd put coffee in there and bring it up to the matching number. Well, with this one particular morning, we went up there to have our first cup of coffee and tasted of it. Somebody says, "Oh my God, I've been poisoned." That was the stoutest cup of coffee I have ever tried to drink. And we got to looking, tried to see what the problem was, and we looked at it, and the guy that made it had filled the pot for 24 cups, but then looking at the basket upside down, he filled it with coffee to 42. So had about double the amount of coffee that was needed, and about all we could do is pour off half of it and put in some hot water to drink it. Okay, the water's up to a rolling boil. I'll turn this off and pour it over in here. I can already hear it running through. Put the lid on here. And even though the burner's off, it's hot, and so I'm going to set this back on here to keep the coffee in the bottom of the pot hot as it makes. And it's going to run through. It'll take 2 or 3 minutes here for it to run through. Check this. Yeah, it's all run through. Now that's dripping a little. I'll just put it over in here and put the lid on there and pour some coffee for me and my wife. Well, that looks like nice strong coffee there. Good color to it. Smells good. Smells like coffee. Don't see any grounds in it or anything like that, so I'm going to take that over to her in the living room, and we'll enjoy our first cup of coffee this morning. So now I've used that coffee pot, and I want to personally thank the nice lady who sent it to me. I really appreciate that, and I'm going to use it. And my wife agreed that it was the best cup of coffee she's had in a long time. And I want to thank all you folks for watching my YouTubes. I'm well above 500 of them now, and I'm above 2 million viewers on there over the 10 years they've been produced. So you folks Bless all of you. Bless Texas. And I'll see you again later.